Welcome to Happening Multicultural Festival. My name is Banu Zan, and I'm the poet curator. We recognize that we live and work on traditional indigenous territories. I acknowledge that I'm currently located on the traditional territory of Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and most recently the territory of Mississaugas of the Credit. I wish to express gratitude to Mother Earth for the resources we are using. And I would like to honor all the First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people who have been living on the land since time immemorial. Happening Multicultural Festival is the first and only Toronto festival created by community artists, giving center stage to talent and skills of immigrant, newcomer, and refugee artists. It gives a space to embrace the cultural richness of our city while creating professional development opportunities for artists, as well as offering a platform for organizations to connect and form meaningful collaborations. During our poetry nights, we celebrate poets who, among other things, identify as newcomers, refugees, or immigrants, despite the fact that poetry inhabits many geographical locations and speaks in different languages and accents, literature continues to be the most exclusive of arts and the most resistant against outsiders. And immigrants' linguistic, cultural, and political accents mark them as alien and hence undesirable company or colleague among fellow artists and writers. Anne de León is an associate professor and settler scholar in the Department of Modern Languages and Cultural Studies at the University of Alberta on Treaty 6 territory. She teaches courses in Spanish, Latin American Studies, Women in Latin America, Indigenous and Colonial Latin American History and Culture, Translation, and Aztec History and Nahuatl. Hailing from Mexico City, her research has centered on Mexican Indigenous pictorial manuscripts, amoxtli, or códices, cross-cultural translation practices in colonial Mexico, and contemporary community translation practices. More recently, she has been exploring representations of Aztecs in popular culture. She's also a closet poet.
Hello, my name is Anne de León, and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Alberta in the Department of Modern Languages and Cultural Studies, where I teach courses in Spanish and Latin American Studies. I'm very humbled and honored to have been asked to participate in the Happening Multicultural Festival, being curated with the help of Banu San. So thank you very much. I'm originally from Mexico City, so some of the poems that I'm going to read have to do or are inspired by Mexico or by my own life or by also indigenous cultures or the Aztecs. The first poem I'm going to read, I actually wrote especially for this event. A little context, background context is in Mexico City in 2020, a very famous monument to Christopher Columbus was taken down because they were going to restore and clean it. But there was a lot of protesters that took advantage of the opportunity and asked the government to permanently remove this monument. And in its place, there was a lot of polemical debates about what should replace Columbus or who. And so this poem is based on that situation that happened and the politics surrounding it. So if you want to read up on it, feel free to. But I will read the poem in Spanish and then the English translation that I did surrounding it. Here we go. La glorieta de las mujeres que luchan. Primero lo bajaron para fregarlo y desinfectarlo. Las mujeres mexicanas, en cambio, propusieron descolonizarlo y destronarlo permanentemente. Luego propusieron colocar en su lugar una estatua honrando a la mujer indígena. El encargo, por supuesto, fue otorgado a un hombre no indígena. Después, a las mujeres se les prometió una réplica de un monumento prehispánico femenino recientemente desenterrado. Las mujeres indígenas mexicanas, en cambio, decidieron que estaban cansadas de ser relegadas al museo o de ser representadas como extraterrestres. Quizá las mexicanas estamos cansadas de los monumentos y quizá simplemente nos queremos vivas. Here's my English translation of my poem, Roundabout for Women Who Fight. First, they took him down to be scrubbed and sanitized. The Mexican women instead decided to permanently decolonize and dethrone him. It was proposed that a statue in honor of Indigenous women would take its place. The commission, of course, was awarded to a non-Indigenous man. Next, the women were promised a replica of a recently unearthed pre-Hispanic female sculpture. Mexican Indigenous women instead decided that they were tired of being relegated to the museum or of looking like E.T. Perhaps Mexican women are tired of monuments, and perhaps we simply want us alive. The next poem I'm going to read was written by a Maya Quiche poet from Guatemala, Humberto Acbal, who passed away in 2019. I'm going to read a Spanish version of the poem, Quisiera, and an English translation called I Would Like. And a lot of his poems have to do with nature, but also they're quite humorous. Quisiera. Los pájaros cantan en pleno vuelo y volando cagan. Me les quedo viendo y mis miradas los siguen hasta donde termina la pita que les dan mis ojos. Cómo quisiera ser pájaro y volar, volar, volar. Y cantar, cantar, cantar. Y cagarme de buena gana sobre algunos y algunas cosas. I would like. The birds sing in full flight, and in full flight they shit. I stare at them, and my gaze follows until the string my vision has given them ends. How I would like to be a bird and fly, 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 and sing, 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 and shit with pleasure on some people and some things. The next poem is written by Heriberto Yepes, a writer and poet from Tijuana, Mexico, who's also a professor in Baja California, Mexico. It is his Spanish poem and then my English translation of this poem. Los gringos tras coyote. Las autoridades gringas dicen que te han visto en el bordo de Tijuana, en pleno desierto de Arizona, en todas partes queriendo pasarte la línea, illegally. ¿Qué nos puedes decir al respecto? ¿Yo? Si yo nomás me ando paseando por las tierras que la magia inventa, por las tierras de los abuelos nahuales, por las tierras, ando nada más, ando. ¿De cuándo acá? ¿De cuándo acá? Es un crimen nomás andar por las tierras que la magia inventa, por las tierras de los abuelos nahuales. Desde que las tierras ya no tienen magia, Desde que las tierras ya no tienen abuelos ni nahuales, solo puros agentes gubernamentales, coyote desde entonces es un crimen. So here's my English translation of this poem. Gringos on Coyote's trail. The gringo authorities say that they've seen you on the Tijuana border, smack in the middle of the Arizona desert, everywhere, trying to cross the line illegally. What do you have to say for yourself? Me? Well, I'm just wandering around, getting the lay of the land that appeared by magic, getting the lay of the land of the shape-shifting elders, getting the lay of the land, just chilling, that's all. Since when? Since when is it a crime to take a walk, to get the lay of the land that appeared by magic, to get the lay of the land of the shape-shifting elders? Now that the land has lost its magic, now that the land no longer has elders or shapeshifters, just government agents, coyote from now on is a crime. The following poem, I wrote the following poem. It's titled Nepantla, and Nepantla is a word in Nahuatl, which is what you would call the Mexica, the Aztec language, which today Nahuatl is spoken in Mexico and outside Mexico by over 2.5 million people. And Nepantla means in between or neither here nor there. It's a space of transition. Nepantla. As I die, you caress the border between my flesh and dreams. I am transported to Nepantla, starry house of gods living in a space, neither here nor there. Their house is infinite in amplitude and spreads with every breath, unraveling the edge of life. Breath becomes yarn, a pale blue sweater that runs purple and blackens as it stretches past the brilliant threshold of the horizon. Will you awake? Stay mute with me in the silence? Our thoughts echo in fluid cleanliness, bouncing in the blackness of caves, like bats do to find their location. Wrapped in the stickiness of leaves and snaking dreams, we'll slither like verbs in search of words or accents. We'll resign ourselves to the frailty of rice paper. Between our marzipan hands, life will be powdered into 1,000 sweetnesses. Life was not enough on earth, nor speaking to the sap of trees. Now we are layers of flesh upon flesh embroidered by insects. So come, sweet borderline, break flesh, unravel the edge of our tail, tempt us with nectar hidden in hips, penetrate intimacies of skin, titillate the soul, unwind the DNA, liquid blueprints spilling over the side of this page. Now, to end the reading, I will read two other of poems that I wrote. One is called Eclipse, and it was written inspired by an actual eclipse that I presence with my family in Mexico City. We had a full solar eclipse back in 1985, and we viewed it from the rooftop of our home. And it was very impactful for me, just seeing that when the darkness came, it was as if everything had died. All the birds went quiet. And once the sun returned, it's as if life resumed. So it was very, very powerful moment. So I will read from my poem Eclipse. And I start out with a quote from the Maya ancient book of counsel, the Popol Vuh. Now it still ripples, now it still murmurs, ripples, it still sighs, still hums, and it is empty under the sky. Okay, now my poem begins. Who would think that black gossamer film negatives would shield our retinas from the isthmus that connects the slit of light to the inverse image of a Van Gogh field with crows? This is how it felt on that rooftop. It's as if 1,000 bats had suddenly scattered into a gentle purple bruise, each to become a Byzantine tile or a pixel of moon shadows, using the sun as mural. At first, it seemed like someone had drawn a white chalk circle on a blackboard without the screeching. It was as if a halo was suspended in a lilac charcoal-laced vault, black, black, blacker, with a stain of angel light. The world had drawn a flat line, like a babe torn from its umbilical cord of words to reveal an open vein. Trees, houses, birds, cars, streets, voices. Everything died at noon in transit. Perhaps this is how Edgerton first felt after freezing images in time with his strobe light, running blood through veins, but no one desired an end. Against a fixed point, our hearts beat gently, and in the dark, our clocks ticked. Nothing distinguished us from the living and the dead. The Aztecs knew of this, that feeling of the instant before giving birth to themselves, the fear of the end of an obsidian knife, carving a heart of rusted petals, so that they could feel like this forever. Suddenly unchaperoned, the broken circle of light, cut glass, beamed the ghost ship, set sail from Teotihuacan, and waves shifting to let light grow exponentially, piercing life's nervous laughter. Thank you. And my last poem, it's called Curie. It was inspired from the double Science Nobel Prize winner, Marie Curie. In my previous life, I was a biologist. This poem is in honor to women breaking glass ceilings and barriers. Curie. Glowing light surrounds you, your fingers radium irradiated and capable of holding 1,000 bonds, a net of fireflies. Alpha particles calypsoing in your hair. What was the necessity of retrieving Poland and polonium? Perhaps you thought about a young girl at 16, Marie obsessively studying science at night, reflected in Parisian glass. Your mother frowned, your light still on, your eyes alight with a new calculation, seeking patiently clarity, a cure, what you looked for, dressed in starless night. Your ears hummed with the insect noises of a power line through monotone background, waiting for crackling sound. Trading in Poland for Paris, you felt yourself infinitely tiny, a tiny particle projected, opening like a cluster of mimosas, embracing Pierre, his awkwardness, his inwardness, the kind of mind that required stillness, the bond that held you both, the glowing thing you both admired at night. Martyr of luminous style painters, you lie dressed in white, rejecting your last black day. You smile, too noble to hold the grudge against the men that hissed you in l'Académie. You name your fireflies radium, polonium, their last breath. And those are the poems. Thank you very much again for inviting me to be part of this wonderful festival. Good night.
Peter Umezurike is an assistant professor at the Department of English, University of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and the 2021 winner of the Nigeria Prize for Literary Fiction. An award-winning creative writer, Umezurike is the author of literary works such as There's More, Double Wahala, Double Trouble, Wishmaker, and a co-editor of Riz for a Wayfarer.
Hello, I am Uche Peter Umezurike. I'm so excited to be part of this year's happening multicultural festival. Thank you to the organizers and Banozan for inviting me to be part of this great conversation and readings by fellow poets. I'll be reading from my poetry book titled There Is More. This book deals with questions of home, migration, diaspora, belonging, kinship, identity. As an African migrant, I believe poetry should reflect some of the experiences of being a migrant in Canada, and as well as open up conversations regarding what it means to be a black Canadian. And so I invite you to listen, and I hope you will find some of these poems resonant. And thank you very much again for having me in this conversation on poetry and arts and connections, more importantly. So I'll be reading those poems which were originally published in English. And so I read a poem followed by a vernacular English, or what we call Pidgin English in Nigeria. So, yeah. Home is what the tortoise bears on its back. Home is what the tortoise bears on its back. A shell, a heartbeat, a mosaic of fruits, a scent of hibiscus, a memory of rainwater, the struggle to stay sane. Now the vernacular variation. Home is what the tortoise carry for him back. Home, now wetin the tortoise carry for him back. A shell, a heart e dey beat, a mosaic of fruits, the smell of hibiscus flower, a memory of rainwater, the struggle make we see am. The next poem is titled The Morning After the Protest. The morning after the protest, downtown, grey, with a reek of sulfur. The air drops its weight onto my chest, and go back is what remains of the shrill graffiti on the street littered with charred effigies. I saw my neighbor feeling for cracks in the windshield and asked if his children will be attending school. And he says, it's English, water sloshing around a calabash, more fractured than mine. If not for home, I go. So I'll read it in Pidgin now. The morning after people demonstrate. The morning after people demonstrate for downtown. Grey, the smell of sulfur everywhere. The air can't drop in weight for my chest. And make you go back, now remain on the shrill graffiti for our street when they littered with charred effigies. I can't see my neighbor, they feel for cracks in his windshield. And then I can't ask them if his children no go attend school. And then can say, in English, it be like water sloshing around calabash. It break past my own. If not for home, I forgo. The next poem. The wind skulks at my window. The wind skulks at my window. humming on end. A poem about home is the father gazing at clouds shaped like egrets. A poem about home is the mother struggling with the shell on her back. A poem about home is the scent of a scarf teased from a lover's neck. A poem about home is the gut of a tea bag left a little too long in hot water. A poem about home is Uguta Lake running her fingers through your toes. The wind coined a stock for my window. The wind coined a stock for my window, coined a hum as if it no go end. A poem about home be like the papa he dey look at clouds, he be in the shape of egrets. A poem about home be like the mama he dey struggle with the thing, he be like shell on her back. A poem about home is a scarf he dey smell when you come out from a lover's neck. A poem about home be like the belly of a tea bag when you leave for water for too long. A poem about home be like Uguta Lake, dey pass in fingers through your toes. So this one is titled On Slicing a Mango, one midday. The scent of ripe mangoes is enough to yellow the moment, round with the impulse to forget, to eat, and expend. Tangible enough, the ripeness that pops a moment of hunger into a little stream dripping through your fingers. Full enough, the scent of ripe mangoes is just full enough. On slicing a mango one midday. The smell of ripe mango, it dey too much. It dey too much to yellow the moment, it come around with the impulse to forget, to eat, and to waste. It dey tangible enough, this ripeness, it pop your moment of hunger into something be like river, dripping through your fingers. The scent plenty of ripe mangoes, it just plenty too much. The next one is titled Seagulls. Seagulls weave over your head, where the middle sea exhales its salt in your face. The sky looms a different blue. Thoughts waver between mangoes and olives, then coalesce a consolation. We call home anywhere we find something to love. Home is no more than concrete and earth. Now you've made here your home. Distance is not a familiar place, not like two palms pressed together in prayer, more like the song you can't stand remembering each time you eat an olive when you would rather peel the skin off a mango that tastes familiar. That's the burden every time you raise your head to glance at the family browsing the bank for shells and pebbles. For now, the burden, as the middle sea slips away beyond the horizon, unaffected by such ephemeral. Now, the Pidgin English version. Seagulls can they weave over your head, where the middle sea can pour out salt in your face. The sky be like a different blue. Thoughts come move between mangoes and olives, then come together as if then they console you. We suppose call home any place where we find love. Home no be more than concrete and earth. Now you don't make this place your home. Distance no be like place where you know. Not like 2 pounds where you press together as if you dey pray. More like the song where you know like to remember. Each time when you want eat an olive, when it be say you like to peel the skin off a mango because mango they taste familiar. Well, that's the wahala every time you raise your head to see other family eat dey waka for the beach. They look for shells and pebbles. For now, na the wahala you go bear as the middle sea slips away beyond the horizon when you no concern am with some small details. This one is titled Body of Bones. At least - migrants died in multiple shipwrecks. At least - migrants died in multiple shipwrecks off the coast of - eyes they don't see, this body of bones tell. Ears they don't hear, tales of bones. Nostrils they don't smell, bones adrift, bones ashore, bones under sea. Mouth they don't speak, bones breaking news, news breaking bones, bearing histories. Hands they don't feel, bodies that the water don't keep, bones the water keep, bones turn into silt, bodies returning to worms. Who's to blame for the bones that not see, that not hear, that not smell, that not speak, that not feel? The sea, its hunger deep enough. The land, its hunger deep enough. The boat, its hunger deep enough. Families on the shore, their hunger deep as the ocean. Now the Pidgin English version. Body of bones. At last, that people will die for shipwreck off the coast of. Eyes when in the sea. This body of bones they talk. Ears in the hear. Stories of bones. Nostrils in the smell. Bones adrift, bones ashore, bones under the sea. Mouth in fit talk. Bones breaking news. News they break bones, bearing histories. Hands in fit touch. Bodies water no one keep. Bones the water won't keep. Bones either in they turn to silt. Bodies they turn to worm. Who we go blame for these bones? In they see, in they hear, in they smell, in they talk, in they feel. Na the sea when in hunger plenty. Na the land when in hunger plenty. Na the boat when in hunger plenty. I mean na the family they for sure when their hunger come plenty past the ocean. Thank you very much again, and I hope you find some relevance in these poems. And thank you again to Obanozan. Thank you to all the organizers of the happening Multicultural Festival. It has been my pleasure to be part of this, and I wish you all a successful outing. Thanks again. Bye.
This brings us to the end of tonight's event. I would like to thank Festival Director Paula Gomez and the team, Paulo Sofia Morales, Alex Oscoiano, and all the other team members and volunteers for their hard work and dedication to the community. The festival has 2 online poetry nights this year. These poetry nights, after the first streaming, will stay online for future viewing. There's also an in-person poetry night on May 31st. Check the festival socials for more information. Have a great night.